Instagram is easier to grow than YouTube. YouTube is the slowest, but the best long term. 4 hours editing, half an hour filming. You're training the wrong skill. That's the goal. People need to feel something coming out of every video that you make.
And then I'm doing the YouTube thing.
Yeah.
And you know, like you do YouTube, like it takes time to create a video and like edit it and everything. So maybe you're creating 1 to 2 a week. And I'm just focusing on YouTube. Should I be focusing on Instagram, on more things, or just make sure I'm really good at one thing?
What are you best at with YouTube? Is it being in front of the camera, behind the camera, editing, thinking? What's that?
Like in front.
Being in front of the camera.
Like editing and all that takes a long time. And then like
But everything can take a long time. Being good in front of the camera takes a long time too.
Exactly.
But you like that better.
No, I like it. And then in terms of like Instagram,
Yeah.
I was doing Instagram before like
Yeah.
with another niche.
Yeah.
And I was paying for ads.
Yeah.
And I was losing a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I wasn't passionate about that, so I stopped. But with YouTube, I find like when you're a beginner, you don't necessarily have to pay for advertisement because you know, like you can do SEO, right? To
So, Instagram is easier to grow than YouTube.
Really?
Yeah, because you have hashtags, which means 0 on YouTube, but you can rank in Instagram if you pick the right ones. Now, a small account, you're not going to rank for men's lifestyle. Like it's going to be too big a hashtag. So you got to really niche down. Instagram is the fastest way to grow. Even now, even with engagement going down, it's way faster than YouTube. YouTube is the slowest, but the best long term. Because the videos that you make now, in 5 years, people are still watching it. Your video was 2 years ago?
Yeah.
At the TTC?
Oh, yeah.
It's still getting views. Is that 7 million views or something?
Yeah, no agent, no manager, nothing.
Still getting views. Your Instagram video from last week is not getting views anymore. That's the difference. And YouTube is the only place where your content lives forever. Everything else, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, it's all gone. Like tomorrow, people forgot about it, right? But because the recency is so valuable, you can win faster on any of those platforms compared to YouTube. YouTube is the hardest game of all of them. But it's the only place where you have staying power. Instagram is your fastest way to build an audience, to then, because you need to at some point monetize it so that you can quit your job and do this full time, right? That's the goal, right? So Instagram is a faster way to do it. But it's this rat race where every day you got to get on the wheel, you got to make more content, right? YouTube is much harder, but again, the content lives forever. So it'll take you longer to get to your goal, but once you're there, it's easier to stay on the path. So it depends on your patience level to figure that out. If I'm you, though, I think the best piece of advice is not necessarily the platform choice. It's I would drastically drop the editing. Yeah. I would focus on you doing daily videos with what you're great at in front of the camera and get better at being good in front of the camera. Because you have so much time to work on YouTube or on your content, right? You're working X number of hours a week, and that's what it is. You got to get paid. Great. I'm not saying quit your job and go all in yet, right? Like I want you to eat and have internet and all that awesome stuff, right? Great. And then you have X amount of time you need to sleep and X amount of time with friends and whatever. Great. You have this much time left to work on your content creation, this new brand that you're trying to build. If you're great in front of the camera, if you spend, how long would you spend making a video? Filming it.
Filming it?
Yeah. You in front of the camera.
Maybe like half an hour.
Half an hour in front of the camera. How much time editing?
Oh, editing more. So at least
Like what?
1 hour to like clip it and then like put effects and everything. So maybe like
All in.
4 hours.
4 hours editing,
Yeah.
half an hour filming.
Yeah.
You're training the wrong skill.
Yeah. Putting way more time into editing.
You're putting all this time into a skill that you don't want to be good at.
Yeah. Because eventually I want to give it to someone else to do, right? And delegate that so I can focus on being in front of camera, right?
Stop being here. You should flip it. You should spend 4 hours getting in front of the camera and practicing your message over and over and over again so that you don't need editing, and then half an hour editing, throwing a title, end cards, whatever on it.
Like,
Music, whatever you want, but half an hour. Like you actually flip it. Because now you're training the right skill. Because your goal is to be so good in front of the camera that you don't need to be edited. So that's a skill that whether YouTube or Instagram are still around in 20 years, it doesn't matter. It's a skill you take for life. To take your message from a 15-second Instagram story to a 1-minute video on Instagram, to a 5-minute, 10-minute on YouTube, to a 20-minute radio interview, to a 1-hour keynote, to a 3-day workshop. Like your message needs to fit in all of those areas. And so the communication skills that you develop in doing that practice sets you up for life. But if you're spending so much time editing, you're making 2 videos a week, right? That's 1 hour in front of the camera per week. You're never going to get great at anything doing it for 1 hour a week. Any skill, right? Like basketball, salsa, anything. Like you won't be great if you only practice 1 hour a week. So it's switching that scenario and being willing to drop the editing quality to focus on, I'm going to get better in front of the camera. Because the path that will lead you to being able to hire an editor is you being so great in front of the camera. So by making videos daily, whether it's YouTube or Instagram, building up enough traction to then be able to monetize it, whether it's through products, affiliates, speaking gigs, coaching, lots of different areas, then that's the path that then allows you to then hire an editor. So it's not about disrespecting editing. You need it. But it's not the best thing for you to be doing right now. So if I was starting over from scratch, that's what I would do. Like I'm giving you the advice that I would do myself. I would take up my phone and film myself every day to get better at the skill, to then build an audience. Because people aren't going to follow you for the amazing editing. Now, if you were an editor, you have to have a great looking portfolio, right? Your editing better be on point if you want people to hire you for the editing. But they're following you because I want to think like you think. You see the world a different way. I want to feel the same way that you feel. And so if you're giving me a video a day, it's going to have a bigger chance of hitting me than if it's 2 a week, but has some okay editing on it.
Right. And it can be anything every day, like anything that comes to mind, you know.
You have to think, what's your core message? What do you want people to feel when they're watching your videos?
No, I wasn't to feel staying fit, inspired to just become like, you know, the best version of themselves.
Okay, great. So great art, what you're doing is art.
Yeah.
Great art makes people feel. I should feel something when I'm in touch with your art. Like when I watch, if I go to his live theater show, I need to feel something through it and by the end of it. If people don't feel anything, then he failed. Like it's just, you made something for yourself, right? So you need to make people feel with your art. So if the goal is I want people to feel inspired, then what do you need to do every day to make people feel inspired? And that could be totally, maybe you're talking about your morning routine one day, maybe you're doing an active service and you're buying the coffee for somebody behind you in line one day, maybe you're just going for a walk and taking in the air, like whatever you need to do to get inspired, and then take me on that journey every day. And saying something as simple as, hey, you don't need to be in Lamborghinis every day to get inspired. Like I can get inspired just climbing a tree. Here we go. Put the phone down and you climb the tree and you jump off. Woo! Right? Like watching you climb a tree should make me inspired to go do something in my life, but not to climb a tree. Right? You're not doing instructional videos on how to climb a tree. You're teaching me how to be inspired. That's a big difference because most people do the opposite. Right? I was on a plane with a woman. She found out I was a YouTuber, and she said, "Oh, my husband is a YouTuber. He's trying to get his channel started. He's a male nurse." And I said, "Great. What are your videos about?" And it's about hiking trails in Seattle. And so he does these reviews on hiking trails in Seattle. I said, "Well, but he's having a hard time getting traction." I was, "Yeah, because all you're talking about is hiking trails in Seattle. Like that's not unless you're going to go to that hiking trail, you have to love hiking. You got to be in Seattle and want to go to that trail to watch the video." Right? Why did he start this channel? Well, because he's a male nurse and he sees people who are sick all day long at his hospital. And he just wants to encourage people to walk. That if you just went out and walked, you would save a lot of trips to the hospital. 100%. Right? So that's what he's trying to inspire to do. It's like, great, then his goal should be not to teach me about what's on each specific trail, but if I'm sitting here in Toronto watching this guy's video about some Seattle trail, I get inspired to go take my wife on a walk. And so you can still show the same trail, but the story you tell is different, right? The feeling that you get is different. Instead of, wow, I can't wait to go to Seattle and go on that trail, it's like, no, I want to walk right now with my wife down the street. Maybe I don't have a park. Maybe I'm downtown Toronto or New York City, right? I should still want to get up and go for a walk. That's the goal. People need to feel something coming out of every video that you make. If you have a podcast or interview show and want me to be a guest on it, I have 2 options for you. There's a link right there next to me. Go click it, and I look forward to being a guest on your show.